hanging out. One thing you don't see yet, Reid's got 2 lands. The question is, does he have a 3rd one?
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh. The answer is no.
Does not have a 3rd land, and now Night Veil Specter's probably going to get in here. And it looks like Ted drew a Detention Sphere to deal with both Frostburn Words. Although, I think I'd rather cast another Night Veil Specter. I don't know.
Jeez. Gonna go with the Sphere.
All right, so he's going to
It's
go with
close,
the Sphere.
I think.
It is close.
There's an island before passing the turn back here.
Although that does mean Reid will get another chance to top deck a land, though, because there was a Night Veil Specter on top of his deck, so.
Reid going to separate the cards here. Spheres are taking care of the Frostmourers, and the Spectre is taking care of the Spectre. Wants to make sure that, you know, at the end of the game when he gets his card back, and there's no confusion. So that's why those are off to the side right now. In comes the Judge's Familiar. There is a Mutavault before passing the turn back over to Felicetti, who draws a copy of Devour Flesh. Does have a land to play in Plains. Looks like a good place to start, however, maybe Night Veil Specter.
Yeah, great situation for Ted here. He's able to basically keep attacking Reid, and at the same time, he just has a handful of removal spells. So exactly the scenario for him.
Felicetti does cast a Night Veil Specter pre-combat, gets the counterspell out of Reid's hand. Now there is an island. I have to imagine there's a reason that he played it like that as opposed to after combat, maybe seeing what he finds. Gonna play an island, just pass the turn back here, will Ted.
Yeah, maybe afraid that Reid has a rapid hybridization, but if Reid had it, he probably cast it. So, I mean. So Ted does play the island that he gets off Reid. Reid's stuck at 3 mana here.
It's just a boring little attack from 1 from Judge's Familiar. Felicetti's going to go down to 16. Duke's just going to pass the turn back. You have to imagine there's some counter magic over there, but the problem for Reid is that a Night Veil Specter slipped through the cracks. Much like 2 weeks ago in the finals against Fabiano, the card that slipped through the cracks there was an Ashiok, and that just ran wild. And it's these Dimir 3-drops that are actually causing Duke some trouble in the sideboarded games.
Yeah, Reid did draw a Cyclonic Rift, so he has some options here. It looks like he's going to go after the Night Veil Specter.
He's making it a little more interesting now. And there goes the Spectre, so Rift does a nice job there. Duke can untap. It's time to take a draw. See if he can find a 4th land, and he does. It's a Mutavault, which is a pretty good 4th land to have. And we'll see if Felicetti wants to try to take care of, this Judge's Familiar.
Yeah, he's got a Sphinx of Revelation in his hand, but again, with that Judge's Familiar, he's not going to be able to max out on it. So, Judge's Familiar being quite annoying, quite the nuisance this match.
Perfect way to explain the card. Just a nuisance. Here's a Rev for 2.
It looks like that is going to resolve.
Yeah.
So Ted goes up to 17.
Yeah, Reid says, you want your cards, right?
Yeah, that's the whole point in casting the card.
Don't forget those.
Good man, Reid, too.
Yeah.
Never.
Rev for 2? Sure.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Gain 2 life. No problem.
Temple Lightman's going to put the top card to the bottom here for Ted. You see the Water Grave. It looks like he might discard. He's got 8 cards in his hand, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't want to tap 3 mana to cast Night Veil Specter, so he's just going to pass.
Here comes the Judge. The Azorius Charm will be the target. And if Birdie is going to go on, he's just going to, okay, he says, I don't want to draw. Pay 1 more. Just pass the turn back. Looks like to me Reid is just leaving up a counter wall, at least trying to at this point.
Yeah, Gainsay is basically the only card Ted would have to be afraid of here. It looks like he drew a second Night Veil Specter, so he doesn't care anymore.
Dissolve is going to take care of the Specter. Reid deciding where to scry this card to, taking a look at his hand. That top card is going to go to the bottom.
If you're Ted here, I mean, I think you're probably in good shape to just play the second Night Veil Specter.
Put the shields down.
Yeah. You got to get something out there. Your hand has removal, but you can't win with this alone. You need something out there. I think you have to get Night Veil Specter into play right now. Obviously, you know how important it is for Reid because he Cyclonic Rifted. So, okay, and that's exactly what Ted does. Yeah, and plus you haven't played a land yet, so you have mana up in case you need to cast one of your removal spells. So, pretty good turn there for Ted, despite getting one of his Night Veil Specters countered.
Island. Okay. Things may have changed now. There's a Jace. Gonna mill over a Rev, gonna draw Reid a card. So Reid able to slide the Memory Adept through the cracks. One thing about Ted's deck list is Nightfall Spectre is going to be coming in one way or the other. We'll see. All right, we're going to go towards Reid. It's going to turn over an island. The big thing here is that Hero's Downfall, if you check the deck list, 0.
Yeah, there's no Hero's Downfall in this deck. So he does have Banishing Light and Detention Sphere as his options. So
you see Ted's hand super reactive with ways to kill creatures, which are obviously important, but that's part of the mono blue sideboard plan is they have creatures and they have planeswalkers. And the planeswalker that has slid through the cracks is one of the best ones that can get through.
yeah, currently this Jace is going to outrace the Nightveil Spectre. So not sure what Ted's plan is. I think he was just trying to hit a Master of the Waves or a Thassa.
Something to speed it up.
Something to speed up the clock.
And oddly enough, if you hit a Thassa, it'd be on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. It's the 0 button. Ted's life total has become his deck. 9 and 10. And the cards that are turned over there, of course, Reid will record that information, but realistically, it doesn't matter. He just needs to hit the 0 button a bunch of times. That's the game plan now. I think the other thing that's really tough here for Ted, too, is that if the Nightveil Spectre goes after the Jace, Reid can just say, all right, I'll just start, like, drawing cards again and do that. So he's in the real squeeze. And Felicetti's going to go after Reid's life total again. Top card is a Mutavault.
All right, so that's something,
Yeah.
but it's just not. Yeah, he really needs something bigger, but at least it gives him something. He just needs to attack Jace in one turn, basically.
I actually think it's kind of important, too, that the card that Ted turned over there is 10 more going to go into the graveyard here from Jace. The card that he found was a creature that he didn't have to cast.
Yeah.
Because I think, like any blue card, I imagine that Reid has at least one Gainsay in his hand. So if it's a Thassa or whatever, it's our counter it. You know? So actually finding Mutavault there is pretty big, and that Needle's pretty important, too.
Wow. Great draw there for Ted.
So Ted has to decide, all right, do I want to attack with Spectre first, maybe find a counter spell? Do I want to fire at Mutavault? How many cards I left in my deck? I think it only takes 2 more activations. We'll get a card count for you guys since that's being made public information now.
Well, here's the thing. I kind of like activating your Mutavault and attacking Nightveil Spectre and Mutavault at the Jace, basically forcing Reid's hand. Reid likely is going to activate a Mutavault to try to block. Then you can try to kill it, and then Reid will probably try to use a counter spell to stop it. Then your Needle will definitely resolve. But it looks like he's just going to go after Reid here.
Mutavault going to get fired up. Yeah, if you're Reid, you have to imagine he's got a lot of removal in his hand. There's a Devour Flush.
Let's see here. Is Reid going to fight over this? Yeah, because I think Ted kind of figures my Needle's not going to resolve if I just cast it. I have to do something to force Reid's hand here.
What does Reid know about the Needle?
That's the thing. You don't know exactly what's in his deck list. I can't recall if Gerard had a Needle in his sideboard or not, but
we do see oftentimes the Needle floating around in these blue-white decks. Top card, I believe Judge's Familiar.
Yep. All right, so Judge's Familiar is going to enter play, and it gives Ted another thing to attack Jace with.
Also lets him play around Dissolve. Because if he casts a Needle and Reid has Dissolve, he can just Judge's Familiar.
Yeah, you can't gainsay. Negate's basically the only other card that will stop.
It's a one of.
Oh, wow.
He's going to counter that. Wow.
All right.
Wow. All right.
So that was fortunate for Ted. He forced his hand, and now Needle can come into play, naming Jace Memory Adept.
You know what's really interesting about this? If Reid just never activates the Mutavault to potentially block.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I felt Ted needed to kind of force the action. He needed to activate his own Mutavault and attack, He needed to do something because you have to figure Reid has a handful of counter spells.
This game has just changed now. The Jace plan is off, and now Reid's got to go back to playing a relatively honest game of Magic.
Yeah, and I don't think Reid has another Cyclonic Rift in his deck.
Looking at the main, there's one in the main. There's no more in the board, so he's used his way to get Needle off, so that Jace is done for. As far as I know, unless he's got some sort of other creative option that we're not thinking of.
Yeah, so this Nightveil Spectre could just win Ted the game here.
It's a good Magic card.
Pretty good Magic card.
Good card. Well, he's got Nightveil Spectre of his own.
And he used the Devour Flesh already. So.
What a surprise. Ted has an ultimate price in his hand.
That ultimate price.
It has been very bad, this matchup.
So Detention Sphere won't really do anything because he'll take out his own Nightveil Spectre. So not sure Oh, there's the Devour Flash. Oh, but
It's got a Mutavault.
got a Mutavault.
Yep.
Yep.
Back and forth we go. There's a temple to start things. Take a look at the top card. Let's see where that's going to go. That stayed on top real fast.
Is that a keep? Is that a snap keep?
I think that was a snap keep. I wouldn't feel great if I was Reid. Here's Devour Flesh.
I kind of like this just because it forces Reid to lose a land.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
You know
I
it's
love
going to
it.
happen. Keep him off 4 mana in case he has, you know, a Bident or something. Or he wants to cash in the Memory Adept with an Architect. So.
Yeah. That's just single,
Yeah.
basically. I'm scared to see what Ted kept on top of his deck. He kept it very fast. Reid gonna take a look at the graveyard here and see what Ted has already exhausted in this game.
Yeah, Reid's at 10. Not sure how many cards Ted has left in his library.
Not a ton.
Probably enough that he's not going to get decked, but probably just looking to see what his outs are. If all is, I'm not sure if an Elspeth was milled, I guess. And yeah, that's the other thing. He doesn't have that many ways to win in his deck. And if the Elixir or Mortality was turned over, then that's going to be a tough spot for him.
Well, we're gonna find out what that top card is right now. There's a Sphere. Now he kept that on top very quickly.
Well,
I don't know if he knows if that's as good as he thinks it is.
Well, I think no.
Okay.
He's got the Mutavault though.
Okay.
So Mutavault's going to town.
So now we're gonna start chipping away here.
5-turn clock.
Hey, basically what that means is I'm perfectly fine with losing my Spectre.
Yeah.
That's already done so much work over the course of this game. And if that's how he wants to play it, that's fine. And that's clearly what he wants to do.
Well, I think the second Nightveil Spectre forces it. Like he had no choice. I mean,
Well, he kept D-Sphere on top anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And then Reid played his second Nightveil Spectre, but his plan all along was to D-Sphere the Nightveil Spectres.
Yeah.
So let's see what Reid wants to play. All right, that's a good start. There's a Thassa. Felicetti with a Doomblade and an Ultimate Price. Gonna fire up Mutavault. Come on in. So Reid's gonna take 2 more points of damage. Take a look at the top card. Put it to the bottom. See what he finds. It's an island. I think he may have a Bident in his hand. At this point, Reid's got to get the devotion count up. He's got to get Thassa into the red zone. Get moving here.
Yeah, Bident would be huge here.
Frostburn weird. And attempted an attack. There's a Doomblade to get that off the table. Does Reid have a counterspell? He does not. So away that goes. Pass the turn back. Felicetti with a good draw. Here comes Mutavault. Duke down to 6.
Has to be wary of Gainsay, Negate, Dissolve, Dispel, perhaps.
Not sure if Reid has a counterspell. Now, I did draw a land, as you did mention. Again, the counterspell's in Reid's sideboard. He's got 4 Gainsays, 1 Negate, 3 copies of Dissolve. He's going to deploy the Bident now. The shields are certainly down. In comes Thassa. Felicetti's going to go down to 12. Reid doesn't get to draw a card.
Probably cast Mace Revelation in response.
Oh, man, if he had Dispel in his deck, that could be a disaster, yeah.
I know Ted has to be concerned with getting decked, but I don't think he can afford to not draw at least a couple of cards here. Not sure, again, I can't make out how many cards are left in his deck, but
the other thing, too, is that I think Ted he wants to see how many cards are in his deck, but he's also looking through his graveyard to see what he has in his deck that matters.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other big thing. It can be for 7? Yeah, I feel like you just draw the full amount. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
He goes up to 19, too. Ooh, Dayside.
Dayside's pretty good. Dayside is pretty good. See you later, Thassa. Let me see your hand, Mr. Duke. Your hand is not very good. A couple Master of Waves to go along with a Jace and another Jace. Dayside huge right there.
So he gets rid of all these other Thassas in Reid's deck. I'm not sure what else he had, though, what else he drew from that Space Revelation. Reid's currently at 6. We know he's got that Mutavault still in play.
Thoughtseize.
Did he take out the Memory Adept?
A little curious there, just because he's got that unlocked. And there's already one in play, so I'm a little bit surprised to see him take that card. There's a Jace.
Oh, wow. It looks like he tapped his Mutavault, too, so he wasn't able to attack with it this turn.
Feels like he's playing a little too quick at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say he'd have this game, you know, and I'd say he'd be in pretty good shape, but now he's got a 3-turn clock as opposed to a 2-turn clock. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely in really good position right now. As here's a Master of Waves, going to take care of that. Duke will play an island past the turn back. Zori's charm the draw. There's an island. Now he's going to fire in with Beautiful Vault. Duke's going to go down to 4. Duke will draw here. Again, that Jace Memory Adept. It's being locked down by a Needle. Here's a Jace for Reid.
Oh, so is Reid at 2?
Yeah, I believe he might be at 2, yeah. He's just going to tick up, yeah. That explains that play, that's for sure. Oh, we do have our life totals updated here. There comes the Mutavault. Duke's going to go down to 1. Reid might only have 1 turn left in this game. There's a Hollow Fountain.
Yeah, so Ted has a Supreme Verdict, so if Reid does get a blocker, Ted can make sure they go away. Mutavault's basically the only card that he'd be worried about, but he does have an Azorius Charm for that as well. So,
Island, Master, resolves, bunch of creatures. Verdicts, uncounterable, we know that. Those are all going to go away. Fire at Mutavault, and that is going to do it. Ted Felicetti is going to defeat Reid Duke. Esper Control downs Mono Blue Devotion in 3 very entertaining games. Always seems like a difficult matchup for Mono Blue anyway, but Ted able to get it done with a little bit different builds, kind of similar to Gerard's, but a little bit different. But at the end of the day, the result's the same. Esper gets it done.